Afternoon, everybody. This is Shane Carlisle for L&I Trade House on the 27th of the 9th at 11 minutes past 2 in the morning, afternoon, whatever you want to call it, early morning. So, I just thought I'd put a little video together, obviously, for people who are interested in what we do. You know, I've not been too great health-wise past couple of days. So things have sort of took a bit of a back burner just while I sort myself out, because if I'm not good, then I can't help anybody else, that's top and bottom of it. But I just want to put a little video out, not in essence of about all the trading and stuff, but about just taking care of yourself. I've been so full steam over the past couple of weeks, just trying to get a lot of things in place for everybody, again, thinking of others, which at the beginning of this process where I'm at, I've got to think of others, but ultimately I've taken a hit for it. Which is okay, because I understand that I need to take care of myself as well. These are the times that sort of make you realize that yes, things are going good, things are going really good, but things can also knock you back, and it's the knockbacks that make the next step forward a lot better and a lot more, how would you word it? If things are going good all the time, then you wouldn't appreciate what's happening, So yes, things are going really good business wise, but health wise, it's took a hit because I've been focusing so much on the business. Now the sun's out today. I'm hoping to go and get a little bit of fresh air, go up to me spot round the back here, but I've got a few things that I want to do first for the business. I've got some videos that I need to make. I've got some people that rely on me for information and stuff now, so yes, ultimately I've got to take care of myself and take care of others. But if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of others. So yes, I've not been as active recently. Had a bit of a hoo-ha on the weekend with my phone. Managed to sort that. Got back into the swing of things yesterday, and I just felt absolutely terrible. I was trying to go at the pace that I normally go at, and I was getting nowhere. So I ended up just shutting down and going to bed. I jumped in the bath at about 6:30, 6:45, and I was in bed for 7:30 last night because there was no production. I didn't feel productive at all. I just felt like I wanted to curl up and, just see the day out. So that's what I did. I did what I could, kids wise, help where I could there. But ultimately, I felt absolutely fucking terrible. So I put myself in bed. Woke up a couple of times through the night. Isabel was crying out, so I went and sat with her for an hour. But all the time thinking to myself, I need to take care of me. And I woke up again this morning, not feeling too great. Possibly nip over to steam room this afternoon, just try and blast a bit of it out of me. But again, I've not put anything out this sort of size over, so long, because I've been focusing on other things. It's not that I've forgot about this side of the things. I just know other things are taking priority over this sort of thing at the moment. We've got the e-commerce being built, we've got websites being built, we've got, there's so many things going on behind the scenes that I have to be a part of because I'm the owner. I'm the person who's leading the ship. Everybody's bringing their knowledge but ultimately I'm the one that set the ship a sail. So I need to be strong. I need to be headstrong. So I have to take care of myself, and I have to take care of myself 100%. You know, I'm quite blessed to have people around me that do help, but ultimately, I've got to take care of me to take care of others. So this weren't. It's not going to be a full-on trading video. I'll probably jump through and do a little bit, but I just want people to know it's okay to care for yourself. You know, I mean, I was looking like an absolute caveman not a week ago. You know, and I took it upon myself because I didn't want my son seeing me like an absolute hairy gorilla. You know, my beard was out here, my hair was out here. You know, turn up to school, oh, that's my dad. You know, it wouldn't have bothered him, but it bothers me. You know, yes, it was all due to busyness and growth, but again, I weren't taking care of myself to ultimately move me forward. You know, yes, it was only a haircut and a trim, but what I feel after having that haircut and a trim was next level. You know, I was literally walking with a skip in my step to school to see him. You know, it made me feel 110 times better than I was feeling when I walked in that shop. You know, a little bit of head down because everyone else is nice and trimmed up. I'm sat there with this massive beard on, you know. But again, they were the steps I took to further my business in the past couple of weeks. Now that's sort of at a point where it's sort of hit a flat line, you know, things are happening in the background. I've sort of stepped back and took care of myself. Got back in touch with everybody that I needed to get in touch with. You know, it's took me 2 days to get back where I was on Friday. You know, so having the weekend off, yes, it's been absolutely amazing and life changing spending the time with my son. But ultimately, I've had to basically get back to where I was on Friday. You know, just notice stuff. So you know, never disgrun. Is that the word? Disgruntle yourself for not pushing forward. If you're at a point where you took action, took massive action, and you feel like you do need to just go, oh, do it. You know, I kicked myself all weekend because I've not been able to get some stuff done for some certain people. But it's not going to be the correct content if I'm forcing it, if I'm pushing it. You know, it's just going to be what they want to hear, not what I want to put out, which ultimately, again, you're catering to others rather than yourself. You know, what I teach works. What other people teach works. It's the mindset that you put to that process that will ultimately make it work for yourself. You know, some people like the quick in and out. Some people like the longer term. You know, there's so many different ways of going about it that you have to find the one that works for yourself. You know, I like the disciplined in and out approach with the possibility of the longer term trades. You know, we're just looking at other ways to catch the longer trades because we're in the right place where they happen. But what I teach a 1% because 1% can change your life. You know, 1% of £100,000 is £1,000 a day. If you can't live on £1,000 a day, you need to be looking at your expenditures. You know, I was living on £1,000 a month. You know, I was just getting by, but that's £1,000 in 30 days. You know, I'm producing that on a daily basis because of actions I've taken to get to the position I'm in. Now everything's sort of building up. You know, like we were saying before, I've got the e-commerce, I've got the website, I've got the training programs, I've got so many things going on that yes, I'm busy. Don't get me wrong. I can't knock it for being busy, but I also need to take time to take care of myself and look after myself, because this is the most important thing in your whole body, you know, because if your mind's not right, your life's not right, you know, it's simple as that. So yeah, just thought I'd put a little video out, you know, take it how you will, positive, negative, whatever. I just want you to understand that self-care is so important, you know. Um, it's paramount to you moving forward, because if you're not feeling great, then you're not going to want to move forward. You're just going to want to duck and dive. And yes, it's all fine and dandy to duck and dive, but you can only duck and dive for so long until you have to face that shit and sort it out, you know. I took it upon myself before all this to take control of my whole life. You know, yes, there was influences along the way, but ultimately I took them decisions and that accountability to take control of me. You know, everything I do with my fingers, feet, hands, eyes, mind, I am accountable for. You know, my kids, I'm accountable for. I made that baseline. Me and my children are what I hold myself accountable for. Anything else is, whatever that word is, you know, surplus to requirement, because them kids rely on me. You know, I produce them children, so I will damn near make sure that I'm there for them for the rest of my life. You know, if it means sitting up at 1:30 at night, talking to her through a cot, she doesn't understand me, but she hears my voice and she knows I'm sat there. You know, my son comes in, got a bit of bellyache, right? Jump in my bed, kid. You know, come and have a cuddle. I'm never ever going to put my kids in front of anybody. Nobody's going to be in front of my kids. It's that simple, you know. And if my kids are my life, can't put it any simpler, you know. Yes, I've had to take a little bit of time learning this, doing that. Ultimately, all this is for them, you know. I base the trade house on them. So when it comes to the time where dad wants to kick back in the sun, business is signed over, you know, 50-50 partnership. Bang, Louis, Izzy, there you go. There'll already be people there running it. You know, they're just going to take a dividend because of actions I've taken to create a future that they know nothing about yet. You know, yes, I'm working my absolute back off every week to show people what's possible, but ultimately, none of it matters. The only thing that matters is that they're okay. They're getting fed every day. They're getting a fresh cup of water, you know, decent bed to sleep in, pair of shoes on the feet. I couldn't care about them having the top end bloody push chair. This that again, surplus to requirement. I can carry it. I can carry him. You know, for one, I don't want him having crap shoes because I don't want his feet growing funny. You know, he's not going to have top designer clothes and stuff like that. What's the point? He's going to go roll around in the mud, put holes in them, this, that, and the other. Yes, he's got a nice shirt for when we go for something to eat. Yes, he's got a nice pair of shoes for when we go out. But I'm not bothered what he's wearing. As long as he's clean, happy. Well, he doesn't even have to be clean. You know, if he wants to roll around in mud, crack on, boy. That's where your immune system gets built. But he'll never want for anything. You know, because I went through that stage of wanting to provide for them, you know. So took I took what would you call it? I depreciated my life, so they're going to appreciate their life. It's probably the best way I could put it. Yes, I hit the very, very lowest of the low part of my life. Anxious, depressed, not wanting to be around. But for them months that I spent at that bottom, feeling like that, are ultimately the building blocks that built me now. You know, I was so reliant on others before hitting that spot. Oh, why isn't he helping? Why aren't they helping? Why aren't, I wanted everybody else to fix it when really the only person that could fix it was me. But it took a massive negative action to create a massive positive ripple. And now I wake up every day and I am blessed from the minute I wake up. Could be raining, pissing it down outside. I ain't bothered. I woke up. That's it. Blessing. Sorted. My daughter's, if she woke up a bit moany, a bit crying, I ain't bothered, because I woke up and I am blessed. So many people that haven't had that opportunity today to wake up. I went through a stage where I didn't want to wake up. Sat thinking about it now, what a selfish act. If I'd have not woke up that day and I've got my daughter and my son asking where I am, what's he doing? That action I've taken has created a ripple in their life that they're never going to forget. What a selfish act. But at the time, none of that mattered because of the mind frame, the mindset I was in. Nobody's opinion mattered, because there was so much negative built in here that if you tried to put a positive word in there, it'd just fall out. But because of actions I've taken by putting positive things in my ear every morning, every time I go to bed, everything I put on my phone, I don't even watch telly. This is about the only TV I watch, when we're sat with daughter. Because I don't want to be putting negative things in my mind. I made that decision to stay positive and to be a positive person. It's bloody hard some days, and I'm not gonna lie. There's some days where I feel, what, world, I can't be bothered. But they're the days that count, when you look over at someone. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, even though you're not having an amazing day yourself. You're still shining that light. It could be a message to somebody. I try and send 3 or 4 or 5 messages a day, just with blessings for people. I'm not just some weird little guy that's sending nice messages out now. I'm somebody that people look to for inspiration and motivation. So when I'm not feeling my best, I can't put my best out. So I just thought, I'd give a little insight on it's okay to not be okay, but make sure you realize that you're not okay. Could take you a couple of days to come round and actually see it, but make sure you how would you put it? Make sure you acknowledge that you haven't been okay. Don't just brush it and put it down to changing weather, changing whatever. Yes, it could have been a factor of everything, but acknowledge that you've not been okay. Because the time that you acknowledge that you are okay, it's going to make you feel so much better for understanding why you wasn't okay to just brushing it off. You brush it off, it happens again. Oh, you just got to put it down to that. No, you're learning from it. I didn't feel great because of this. What did I do to create a better version of that? I did this. And you're always building them little steps every day. You come across this feeling again, you're going to know because you've taught yourself to understand why you're not feeling. Yes, I've had a little bit of an upset stomach. My head's not been great, but ultimately I figured that was all down to doing too much in a week. It weren't a case of I'd had something funny, this, that, and the other. I'd caused myself too much stress and too much to do. When people say they've not too much to do, there's never enough time. Well, you know what I mean. And they're not doing enough. It's as simple as that. You know, I could, if my brain had let me, I'd work 24 hours a day. But my brain shuts off, and I have to understand that my brain shuts off. And when it shuts off, I need to shut it off. Whether it's pissing off out with a pushchair or taking my dog a walk, or when my brain tells me I've had enough, I need to have enough. It's as simple as that. Yes, you could probably push another half hour, 40 minutes, but you're not taking anything in them half an hour and 40 minutes because you've made that decision in here to shut off. Now, I'm a big believer in your brain. It doesn't know when you're lying, and it doesn't know when you're telling the truth. It listens to what you say because you are the master of your brain. You know, telling yourself you're going to be positive and sitting there being negative, it's not going to happen because you're fighting. Yes, you're telling yourself you're going to be positive and you're going to be better at this and do better at that. But if your actions are speaking the absolute opposite, you need to be in sync with yourself. Don't set stupid goals that you're never ever going to reach because you're only going to deflate yourself by trying to get to them goals. Like we were saying before, set a goal. Just waking up, you've already ticked a goal. So you're already setting yourself up for success for that day. Yes, you do it every day. But how many people take for granted waking up? I can pretty much guarantee everybody that unless you've been through the, the path of opening your eyes to blessings every single day, you'll take that one for granted every single day. But why? Because it happens every day. What happens if it didn't happen every day? You know, it's only got to not happen once. That's it. No more. You know, so why don't you wake up and say, God, I'm blessed today? Just for that one act of opening your eyes, you are a blessing to this day. Now, if that's not powerful enough to make any form of change in the morning, then you're not ready for change. You want to sit in your comfort zone. You want to just get by. You know, you're seeing what's happening around you. You know, the pound sank, absolutely sank. You're going 1 for 1 with a dollar soon, if not less. The cryptos are going to come in. You know, the whales are all, they're already making the way into the crypto. They're in the crypto world. You know, Bitcoin's so heavily manipulated now that you'll never get a straight reading anyway. But when the central banks, they're bringing out a digital currency, the CBDC. You know, so when they're openly now creating a digital currency, where do you think the world's going to go? Your electric, sky high. Your gas, sky high. You know, there's only so many jumpers you can put on before you have to turn that heating on. Inflation, sky high. Food on the shelves, zero. You know, it's going to get to a point where you're going to be in rations. But people aren't seeing it because everything they put on the telly and everything that's put around you, yes, they're showing you snippets, but they're showing you things that have already happened. You know, these have already been put in play 6, 12 months ago. Everything that's going on now, you know, it's it's already happened. Now, to some, you'll think, oh well, how do you know that it's already happened? This and because I see it happening on the markets every single day. You know, I watch how the trade floors move. I know how they move, why they move, where they move. You know, because I've taught myself the skill to understand some economic finances. Is probably the best way to put it. You know, shit they don't teach you in school. I've taught myself, well, not taught myself. I put myself in the rooms where I could teach it, where I could understand it. You know, the people that are willing to give you that knowledge, yes, you've got to pay for it. It'd be absolutely daft if there wasn't a price tag, because that price tag that you're paying is going to set you free for the rest of your life. You know, Now, my plan was to set everything that I do free, but then that's giving my time away for free, which I'm not willing to do. I set this and learned this to gain my time back. You know, yes, I'd love to sit with every single member and speak and this. Yes, that's part of my dream. You know, helping others, being there for others when they need me. But when it gets to a point where I can't do that because the influx of people is happening so fast, this is why the website's being built, you know, so people have a place where they can go chat, you know. I'm putting things in place for long-term business plans, not short-term success. You know, I have people that are in my trade house now that I personally hope they never leave, because the value and stuff they bring to the trade house is next level. If I'm not feeling too great, I've got a couple of lads that are going to jump in. Yo, yeah, it's all, how are you doing this morning? You know, blue party, you know, they've got the fire in the belly because they know what's possible. Now, I didn't want to rant on too much about trade house. I just wanted it to be more of a take care of your own, take care of you. Most importantly, take care of what you can be accountable for. You know, if you can hold the power to adjust it and change it, then you are accountable for that action. If you hold yourself accountable, whether it's good or bad, doesn't, you know, you take accountability for every action that you can control, and I guarantee your life will change. But a lot of people don't want the accountability because they're scared of going wrong, they're scared of it not working, you know. It's not going to work for the first few times. You didn't jump on a bike and ride straight downhill at 50 mile an hour. You know, you didn't jump in a car and start spinning down a motorway at 120 mile an hour. Or you didn't start bloody walking till you crawled for 6 months. You know, everybody learns at a different rate of speed. And to try and teach people the same thing every single day for 16 years of your life is absolutely criminal in my eyes. Can you imagine if they taught me this in school? You know, I've always been quite savvy with numbers. I've always enjoyed maths from a very young age, but I've never been able to implement it into something that I enjoy doing. Whereas now, that's amplified my trading tenfold because I like numbers. I enjoy watching them multiply and how to multiply them. And, you know, so something that I was really good at back in preschool, probably next school along, to then finding alcohol and everything in secondary school and completely losing track of what needed to be done, you know, I could have been going from then to into the numbers to into the economic market. I could be sat on New York trade floor now, but because they teach everybody the same boring shit from when you're in school, my whole learning process was put back best part of 16 years because I went into the working world, into the factory, into just getting by money, you know. Can you imagine where I'd be now if they allowed it, all this kind of stuff in school? Mortgages, you know, real businesses, and how to set how to multiply your money, what leverage is, you know, spreads, manipulation. They're not going to teach you that because they're the ones manipulating it. So they're benefiting. Why would they teach you a trick that's making them millions? Then they wouldn't. But then when somebody like myself finds a way to understand it and begins to understand it and starts to implement it, imagine the power that I have to help people. You know, it overwhelms me sometimes. I literally have the power to change people's future if they implement what I teach. Okay. But I'm going to say thank you for listening and goodbye, everybody. I'm going to shoot off now and get this uploaded, and I hope it give someone an insight just into how things, yes, our world is, I'd say, a little bit more perfect than most, because we've took action. And yes, a lot of people say it's risky, but there's risks in everything you do. People get on a fork truck every day and drive around, risky. People get in a wagon, drive around, risky. You walk down the path on the road, risky. Someone's not on your front door right, risky. It's what you consider as a risk. I know I manage my risk when I go into the market, so I don't see it as risk, because I know what's going to get lost if it gets lost. And I also know what's going to come in if it comes in. But yeah, self-care 101. Make sure you're right before you try and make anybody else's life right. Because if you're not right, then you're not going to be able to give 110% to somebody else. So, absolutely blessed day to you all. And I hope to see you all soon. Keep up the positive vibes, everybody.